So a few weeks ago I enrolled on a chef apprenticeship as I'm very interested in cooking and becoming a chef. The thing is, the person running this kitchen talks to me like I'm incompetent and I've never been spoken to in my life the way she does to me. The place I work isn't too big, so it's only me and her in the kitchen. I've worked 3 half-days so far. This woman's from a different country, and as much as I try and understand her instructions, she's got a very thick accent, so it's hard, especially with the ventilators being so loud. Some examples I can give is that she'd be shouting at me to do this ultimate feast where it's 2 different types of fried chicken and a load of different sides and sauces, all positioned on a tray in a very specific way. I cooked all the food and just asked, whereabouts do I put it again? And she shouts, "For f***'s sake, I've shown you 2 times already and you still don't know," while smacking them on the plate. Then I was cooking for a load of meals, not making a mistake. She didn't mention anything about it again, but as soon as I forgot to put a tomato on a grill for the steak, she starts having a go at me again. At the end of the day, I asked if she trained anyone else, and she said yes. I asked, did they pick it up pretty quickly or was it pretty slow? She said, "I teach them once and they get. I teach you 4 times and you still don't get it." I asked one of the other chefs and she said it took about 3 months to know the menu off by heart, so I find that hard to believe. Anyways, this was a little bit of day 1. On one of my shifts, there was another girl training me who was really nice, and I felt like I actually learned more in that 3 hours with her than I have with the other one completely. And she said she was a total in training to her, and even now. Anyways, I just got back from work yesterday, and I reviewed the menu all week in the morning so that I wouldn't make a mistake again, so I was feeling good about myself. I cooked that feast, meal, and quite a few others without making a mistake, and then a burger comes up, so I put it on the grill and start prepping the bun and put the mayo on it. "What are you doing? You toast the buns first, for fuck's sake!" After this big order was done and it went quiet, I asked if I could grab a drink real quick. As I came back to the kitchen, I heard her complain to another staff member saying, "He's pissing me off." I said, "What? Am I pissing you off? Why?" She pretended as if she couldn't hear me. Stuff like that was going on all shift. And then one of the waiters came in and started speaking to us. I noticed that I didn't have any shifts for the next week, but I do the week after. But an inspector's coming on that week, and I said, "Is that why I'm not in?" She said, "No, it's because you're in front of this guy." I said, "I'm only as good as the teacher." That's about 20% of the that happened over my 3 days there. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty toxic work environment, but wait till you hear the second story, though. So in April, I made a mistake at work that didn't hurt productivity or cost the company anything. It just caused me to have to change the dates in a logbook for a 3-day period and notate the issue. My supervisor, however, seemed to blow his stack at my mistake. He cursed at me and acted like I was incompetent, even though the mistake was pretty minor. Fast forward to August, and I'm in the process of changing over recipes at work. I work in distillation, and every 3 months or so we do a recipe change, and I make the same mistake again. This time I'm freaking out because I remember how he responded last time. I make sure this time that I've covered my bases and do everything to correct the paperwork and logbook and create a schedule to correct my mistake over the next 72 hours before I let him know. This time he explodes at me in front of colleagues and even yells, "You can't even do your f***ing job!" Humiliating, but yes, I made a mistake and I'll own it. Then yesterday rolls around and out of nowhere, the 3 bigwigs at my company and HR come strolling in and take me to the side. My supervisor had called them and told them that I was sloppy and not paying attention and made these 2 mistakes within a week of each other. Because the mistakes were so supposedly close together, I had been written up and this was put in my permanent files, which are used at year's end to determine raises and bonuses. I tried to explain that this wasn't the case and that it had been months since I made a mistake like this, but they took my supervisor at his word. When I confronted him about it, he said, "It was more like 2.5 weeks, which is insane." My supervisor is now trying to gaslight me about my own memory of events. Going to spend the next day or 2 gathering receipts and paperwork to prove my timeline and get this issue hopefully resolved. Dude, imagine working for a supervisor like that. What's even worse is working for a greedy boss, as illustrated in the next story. I made my boss over $1.5 million in commissions over 2 years, while I make $45,000 a year. For Christmas, he got me a $25 gift card to a movie theater chain that I would have to drive to another state to even use. When I put in my 2-week notice, he called legal on me while I sat in his office. I worked my off for this man, essentially running his entire book of business for him. For Christmas, he got me a $25 AMC gift card. The closest AMC theater is 1.5 hours away in another state. Well, that pissed me off and made me start looking for other jobs. I genuinely cared about my job and the account, so I waited to accept the job offer until I had trained someone else in the company to do my job. When the time came, I met him in his office and told him that I had accepted another job and that I was putting in my notice, but not to worry because I have already had someone trained. When I told him that I had accepted a position with another company in our field but won't be doing the same thing so it wouldn't violate my non-compete, he called our chief legal officer on speakerphone while I sat there. The CLO tells me that I can't even mop floors at a company in our field for at least a year. The CLO adds HR to the call, and HR tells me that since I won't be pursuing my new job, they're going to let me work 2 more weeks and make sure the handoff goes smoothly, and then I'll be fired for looking for other jobs. They asked me for more details as to what I would be doing, at my new job, and I told them that I wasn't going to discuss it with them. After I left, the CLO of this company, a company who brings in $6 billion a year in revenue, called me randomly for the next few weeks trying to intimidate me. They even started contacting my new employer. Luckily, I don't work for a company now, and the CEO got involved and told them that they would be ready to fight this in court. They stopped contacting me after that, which meant that they never even planned on taking me to court. They just wanted to scare me into quitting my new job. Companies like this. We don't gotta put up with this anymore. Whew, well, that's a fun way to switch jobs, right? Anyone relate to these stories at all? Well, then here's another one about a greedy boss. I recently started work at a pizza place in Washington State. I should have known my interview was a red flag when the entire time my manager talked about his medical issues. A delivery driver ended up quitting a few weeks after I started because of the verbal degradation our manager was giving out. This boy went to college but is too f***ing dumb to remember what garlic butter is type stuff. He verbally insults everyone that walks into the shop or behind their face. I should have left then, but I stayed. I made 30 cents more than minimum wage for being a TL, which he took away January 1st, by the way. And I thought everything was okay. Until it was me and him working one night, and we made over $1,000 in food. I received $105 worth of tips that night, and my manager gave me $45, which made me mad, since he was told not to take tips by his boss. My final straw was last night. From 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., we made $34 in tips total. At 7 p.m. when my manager left, we had made $24 in tips, and he decided to take $30 out of the till, leaving me with a $2 tip at 9 p.m. He stole money from the store. He continued to take tips when he didn't do any of the work. The entire crew is quitting because of how he treats us. Yeah, these stories make you want to quit your job, don't they? Well, in that case, let's end it with a few stories about guys quitting their jobs and giving the finger to their boss. Everyone likes those, right? Hey Brandon, we're short-staffed for the rest of this year because Sarah just quit without any warning. We're really backed up, so I'm gonna need you to come in during Thanksgiving this year. Don't be shocked if you have to come in during Christmas Eve and Day, too. I already told you 3 weeks ago I need that week off, and you agreed. Now you're changing your mind? I will not be working Thanksgiving, and if you ask again, I will not be working for you at all anymore. We've had to set expectations with you multiple times this year. Coming in is the least you can do. Your PTO request has been denied. I'm not asking you to come in. I'm telling you that you have to. And I'm telling you that you have no worker at all now. I quit. Here's another one. Where are you at? Huh? You told Mark you could work night shift tonight. No, I did not. I told Mark I couldn't work Monday. You told him you couldn't work in the morning, but you could work normal hours. As you know, I found out yesterday that my dad passed away. I'm gonna go ahead and take at least one day I get off a week to mourn his death. I'm so sorry for any inconvenience this will cause you. My uncle died a few days ago. I lost my grandma. Stop being a victim. Mail me my check. I quit. And go f*** yourself. Could you imagine your boss demanding you to come in after your dad passed away? What a douchebag. Well, I mean, that's it for today. So if you have any horrible boss stories, please let us know and we'll cover them for you. Oh yeah, and subscribe to the channel, leave your like and thoughts about all these stories and whatever the